Hello, everybody. Thank you, Remonte, for inviting me. And Remonte asked me to share our short experience in United States, Silicon Valley, while being at #1 B2B accelerator in the world, the Alchemist. I don't know how many founders are here today. Okay, quite a few. How many of you are going to start a company within the next 6 months?
Come on.
Okay. At least I think I will tell something interesting for a couple of you. But those who are really struggling to start a company, I would like to encourage you to do so. I would like to join Oscar, and the best way to do that is actually probably to start from the accelerator, to join some accelerator in Europe or in US or wherever, because that was the most amazing 6 months probably in my life. Again, I had only 2 weeks to decide and to pack all my family, wife, kids, luggages, and move to US for half a year. But yeah, that was the best time I had. So today I'm going to talk about 7 things great founders do that good founders don't. It's a bit about my background. So I graduated from KTU, studied computer science. I founded 3 companies, raised $1 million in total, and 1 company was acquired last year. And yeah, as I mentioned, we are the first company from Lithuania, graduated from a leading accelerator in B2B sector, the Alchemist. So just a brief background about InsideWarehouse. What we do, we are trying to blend content with e-commerce. We started a few years ago, and we decided to move to US as our primary market. And that was kind of a challenge for us because we are trying to consider, Russia market a few years ago or any Europe market, and we chose in US because of that was the biggest challenge, I think. So let's start with a comparison of what actually we found it while talking with, I don't know, probably 100 of other founders from other companies in the United States, starting from small startups to big enterprises like Google, Yahoo, Amazon, Twitter, etc., etc. So what we found, it's all about, I think, profile of human being. And on the right, you actually see what good founders are used to do. And when we first came to Silicon Valley, it was last year, January, we had a mindset that, we are from tiny country, nobody knows us, and we are kind of different comparing to those guys who actually live for some time in Silicon Valley. But eventually we found out that, great founders do not care about where they came from and who they are. Because in Silicon Valley, 50% of all the founders are basically from outside US. So it's totally fine. Good founders usually like to talk a lot. And I am one of those founders. And the tough lesson was actually stop talking and start listening. Because, when you're meeting some great people and you are talking, 80% of all the time, you're not going to learn anything. That's kind of obviously, but in most of the cases, you kind of forget that. Good founders actually are not willing to unlearn things. So when I learn something, it's for all the time, And if I meet some people who actually have a different opinion, it's difficult for me to take it as a true, And one of our, I don't know how to say, no, I used to think that if you cannot solve an issue by yourself, it's kind of showing your weakness point. But eventually I figured out that asking for help is a very, very good thing because people, especially I don't know if it's the same in other countries, but in US, they tend to help other people. And this is the best what we can do because we already have a great life, some money, and et cetera, and now we can realize that, it's all about helping others and building your credibility. One of the difference comparing founders, let's say from Lithuania or other Europe country versus founders from US, we saw that actually we are very good at time management. So we saw three metrics related to a time. So as the engineers from a background, we used to work hard for a half a year or a year just making stuff. We like making stuff, and after 1 year we came out of the box and starting to talk with people, and we realized that nobody cares about what we just made. So the right process, what great founders do, we actually making stuff, talking to the people, come back again to make some improvement every single day. It's not the process that I kind of closed in a dark room and just coding or doing some prototypes. It's all about doing those two processes in parallel. Customer development, a total new thing for us, what we found in Silicon Valley while being in the accelerator. So actually, we used to think that product is the most important. But the truth is that, again, if you are building product, nobody wants to pay for it, you are going probably to die. Yeah. So today we are thinking about building a company, building a product, just starting from regular conversations with companies, or if you are in B2C with your prospect consumers. So I rather choose to spend more time on actually talking with customers instead of building something for them. And one good tip that most of the good founders spend enormous amount of time on an answer from a customer that may be yeah. Thanks, but no thanks at the end. So the trick is to get yes or no as soon as possible from the prospect customer and move forward if you got no. So this is kind of a trick we learned recently. Talking about the focus, I think this is the basic competitive advantage compared startups to enterprises. So even a few people, 3 or 5 people at the team, they can do more comparing to any large enterprise because of the focus. So good founders used to do everything at once and at a good level of quality. So it's all about operations, accounting, financial planning, et cetera, et cetera. But I think it would be very hard for you to find a company which was acquired because they paid the bills on time. So the only one thing which matters at the early stage is how your company is different from other companies. And it's worth spending 100% of your time trying to answer this question. Let's move on with the team. So, we talked with some of the people who actually build the companies of 200 people or more. And we asked actually how we started to hire so many people at once, And the thing is that you need to think from a very first day that you are not going to be a single person at your company. You need some co-founders, you need some coders, etc., etc. And eventually you are going to spend 99% on hiring someone instead of trying to cover those activities by yourself. When I hire great people, most of us actually, this is a big challenge, most of us are trying to tell those people what to do, when the right approach is actually to listen to those people and they should tell you what to do. And the last one, I am a boss and a maker. So this is a nice picture. I think that the truth is that founder, as a company leader, should actually help team members when there are lots of difficult situations. So this is the only thing what you need to do. If you cannot accomplish that, actually it means that you are bad at hiring great people, or you do not trust those people. Communication, I think this is one of the most important factor who can actually kill your company. By communication, I mean that it's internally and externally communication. So it's with your prospect customer, existing customer database, or people at your team. You have to be crystal clear about your vision, about your goals, and inspire people to follow you. But if you cannot actually present your idea, it's very difficult to encourage them to follow that. So communication needs to be improved every single day, and that's what great founders actually do. Talk about your goal as a company's founder. I think that becoming a top-tier communicator would be a great choice for your own personal goal. And networking. Some people go to the parties, some not. But I think as a founder, one of your roles is to meet new people, to connect to new people. And good founders actually are waiting for someone to connect with them. Great founders are proactively seeking for new connections. In the background, you see a gold. And I think that actually your connections, your network, is much more worth comparing to the money at your bank. Because actually, when you have a network, you can get everything is needed for your business. If you don't have a network, it's going to be difficult. Some good founders actually think that if I am good at building the products, it's going to build a network for me. But great founders actually have a mindset, if I don't have a network in a certain area or field where my company is actually doing business, maybe it's a bad idea to start a business in that field. Good founders actually used to ask constantly for help within their network. Great founders are trying to give away something prior asking for something. And the last slide is about fundraising. So one of the main roles of the founder of a company is to keep the lights up at the company. And here is a jumping deer. And actually, a founder of Alchemist accelerator, Vilnius, used to work at one of the largest VC company in US, DFJ, and had a nice story about a jumping deer. So if you take a look at the VCs, they are constantly asking the question, why did you come to me? why not the other guy? And you need to be pretty good at telling the story that that guy is not the only one who is trying to hunt you, and there are some more hunters. So you need to be a jumping deer instead of just an animal laying down on the grass. It's a great thing about companies coming from Europe to US. Most of those companies are actually coming at the phase when they didn't start any business in US. We don't have any signups or customers in US. And what we just can't tell that I'm going to do that. I'm very great at whatever, in Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and I have 80% of market share. But actually, every startup company have 80% of market share in Lithuania. So again, you need to do something before trying to go and talk with investors. And probably this is one of the disadvantages for non-US founders, that you actually don't have credibility. Your achievements proves that you can be successful, but not your story. And again, related to the network, when you don't have a network, there's only one option left to you, is to cold approach investors. When you do have a network, you can use your network, to ask for introductions or just go to the meetings, etc., etc. So that's it for today. You can find me on Twitter, and we can talk more if you want.